Well, hey everybody, it's Tom here. Welcome back to my shop. So I got a different video of sorts. We are in like a machinery desert, being that we live up in the mountains of Southwest Virginia. Usually, there's hardly anything for sale, machinery or machinery tool-wise, on Craigslist or at auctions. The auctions we have around here are usually farm auctions, which means, tractors, implements, everything kind of farm related. So yesterday I went to an auction, and what was awesome about this auction is, one, it was right around the corner from my house, like less than a mile. And number two, the man that lived there was a retired machinist. And if I remember from his bio, he taught machining either in high school or at the local community college, or maybe both. I can't remember. So he had a nice machine shop. So that's kind of rare that you get to go to an auction and it mainly focuses on machines and machine tools. So how cool is that? So as you saw by the thumbnail, I did pretty well. So I figured I would, show you what I got and kind of give you an idea of what prices are around in my area. I think probably easiest to do is you just grab the camera and we'll just do a walkabout. I'll tell you everything, tell you the prices, and this is not a gloat, or I'm not trying to say, yeah, I got some deals. I just want to, share it with you guys and, let you know that, sometimes it's worth going to these auctions, and, sometimes you come back with nothing. You never know. But, being that it was right around the corner, and it was machine related, I did pretty good. So without further ado, let me grab the camera and we'll show you the goodies. So there you go. That is everything that came home with me. Now I will say that the auction company was great. They started at 10:30 on the dot and they rock and rolled. Kind of did a little bit odd, as in they took all the tooling out of the machine shop and then basically sold it down in the tent. They just put stuff in boxes, no rhyme or reason, and just sold the boxes, that way. So when we went up to the machine shop itself, all it had was the machines, basically. I guess the easiest way to do it is just start from how I won the lots. So if we come over here, got these cool old steel clamps. These are hard to find now. I mean, what stuff you buy in the store. I've got a couple of those cheap ones, but they're made out of aluminum, and they're still like, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks for the clamps, and you can't really reef on them. So, you can put a project together, but if you got a gap, you need welding, you're going to bend them versus, use these bad boys right here. You won't have a problem. It'll bring that gap in. So, we had probably, there's over 200 people there. Quite a few people that were metalworking and, had machine shops. So we did have some good active bidding. I got this for $35, if I remember right. So that was my winning bid there. And also, what the hammer price is what you pay. There was no buyer's premium, which made this even nicer, because a lot of auctions will charge you, 15, 18, 20% buyer's premium. So there was no additional fees, except we did have to pay Virginia sales tax, which here is 5.3%. So your hammer plus 5.3 is all you had to pay. So that made stuff nice. Moving on, second lot here. So this popped up. And I was like, ooh. And I think there's only one other guy that kind of figured out what it was. But, this is stainless steel wrap. You know how expensive this stuff is? Holy cow. And for you guys that don't know, what you do is use the stainless steel wrap when you heat treat. Because if you stick a part into the hot heat treat oven, when it's in there heat soaking, eventually it's going to get all black and scaly. So you wrap it in some stainless steel wrap, and that'll keep the oxygen from being in there, and you can prevent that blackening and that getting that crust and that scale on your part. So this stuff is real expensive, and this is 24 inches, and it's a nice big roll. Even has the he's got the roller in there too, if you guys can see that. So when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, that's like, I probably bet you about $300 just for that roll. And then you got this high dollar Starrett stock. So this is oil hardened flat stock here, 3 pieces of it. So me and another guy went at it, and I got it for $37.50. So, you know, score there. Real happy to get that. Third lot was this box of grinding wheels. So, hang on, let me check. I can't remember. I think I paid, what did I pay for the grinding wheels? All right. I paid $35 for this box of grinding wheels also. So, nice green wheel to fit my grinder over there. So, I mean, that's worth it right there. I'm not sure what some of these other big ones are going to be for. Maybe a surface grinder. Of course, it's recessed, or tool and cutter grinders. And some honing stones, and then smaller grinding stones. I'm not sure. You guys leave a comment. Is this for your tool post grinder or for like a tool and cutter grinder? Not really sure. Don't need a lot of this stuff, so I'll mention now, if any of you guys can use some of this stuff, you know, shoot me an email. I'll be glad to work out a deal, do some horse trading, whatever. And let's see, trying to remember here. All right, this stuff over here. So, I got a whole bunch of switches, contactors, capacitors, and let's see, some motors and fans. So this whole group lot kind of got screwed a little bit. Originally, I thought it was going to be $35, my winning bid. But somehow, after I won it, it ended up being two lots. So, you know, 35 times 2. So this whole thing ended up being $70 instead of my $35 bid. Anyways, if you know how expensive, though, you know, some of these switches and lights are for your machines, you know, you try to buy a couple of them and you're still, you know, you break even. So a lot of them look like they haven't been used, and some of them possibly may have. You know, here's a drum switch, starter switches with the old school plate. Now, an Allen Bradley start stop jog. So another Allen Bradley, more push button switches. So yeah, if anybody needs a switch or something for your machines, like I said, holler at me. If you guys can use any of this stuff, especially these capacitors, I got no use for them, but I can give you I guess the info off of them. Maybe you guys can use them for something. Otherwise, they may end up in the scrap bin. And I think, yeah, so that was, we did, I don't know, hour and a half of bidding under the tent, and then he decided, all right, let's go up to the machine shop. So we went up to the machine shop. And I'll let you guys just kind of hang there while I talk about it. So, in this guy's machine shop, it was about 1,200 square foot, I'm guessing. Here's Mr. Chaos. He wants to make an appearance. Hey, buddy. And in it, he had a Series 1 Bridgeport, older, like a 1 horsepower, the old power feed. I mean, nothing too special. If you guys can see that, it's right there. He also had a nice little 7B Atlas shaper. He had 5 lathes, a nice big 3-ton Dake ratcheting press, a huge Dual bandsaw, the 36-inch model with the power feed. See if I can hold this up right there. If I didn't already have a Dual 24, I'd been interested in that, but because that was a nice big saw, and a couple pedestal grinders. So as we went around the room, you know, bidding on the machines, got to the shelving, and there was a shelf. I'll show it to you. I got it there in the back, and it had all this plastic on the bottom shelf. Nobody was interested in the shelf, and I asked the auctioneer, I said, hey, does all the material there on the bottom go with it? And he said, yes, it does. And I said, thinking to myself, holy crap, nobody's seeing the value in this? Nobody machines plastic? So I ended up getting it for $50. Can you say, holy cow, look at all this plastic? I mean, I don't know if any of you guys machine plastic. For those of you who don't, for instance, go look up and try to purchase this piece of acetal, commonly referred to as Delrin, 2-inch diameter. I think I measured this. This is like 9 inches in length. So, you'd get a piece from McMaster-Carr that would be probably, a foot long. They probably sell it in a foot. I mean, this alone itself is probably over what I paid for this whole lot, just this one piece. So, yeah, I am set for life with plastic. But look at this monster right there. I mean, that's like a plastic surface plate. The thing is a beast. I mean, I had to wrestle this thing, and it was, like I said, it's heavy. It is 30 inches by 24 inches. So, not sure what I'm going to do with it, but if I ever need a project that requires something, I mean, I've got it at least. I couldn't imagine a company having to order this, how expensive that thing would be. So, not sure. These are all the size, so this must have been for something. But, like I said, so, onto the shelf. This was actually an added bonus because this is a seriously heavy-duty shelf. Look at that baby. 8 feet tall. It's not your standard cheap box store, shelf. This thing has got some serious beef to it. So the legs here, these are 11 gauge, and the shelves are 16 gauge. So it will definitely hold some stuff. So that's an extra added win for free, really. There, I was figuring it was a cheap shelf and I would just get rid of it, but it's not. So I will use it in the shop. And let's see here. So then we came back down from the machine shop, back to the regular auction. And this nice lot here came available. So this is bearing bronze. I figured most of you guys recognize it. Me and another guy recognized it, so we went at it. So this cost me $175, which that's a lot of money, but go look up bearing bronze. So I looked up 1.5 inch diameter bearing bronze, and it is about, one company is charging $10.41 an inch, and it's roughly about $10 an inch from McMaster-Carr. So you think one piece right here would cost me $130 or so. So just one of these almost is what I have to pay for the whole lot. So got different diameters. Oh man, that's the big one. So So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you said, 7 times 120, I mean, $1,000 in bearing bronze or so. Figure that's a win. So let me tell you the story on this cool chair. So they put that up. Nobody bid on it. So what they usually do is, start piling more stuff in, beef up the lot, try to get people to buy it. So they found this nice antique floor lamp, and they put that together as a bundle. Nobody bid on it. And the auctioneers, he's like, somebody else give me $5. I'm like, well, okay, my wife likes old antique lamps. And heck, I can use this as a shop chair. So I was like, all right. So I raised my hand and, sold for $5. So, but there's no rips or nothing in this. I just did clean it up a little bit. Leave in the comments what you think. 60s style, late 50s. Pretty cool. But what's even more neat about it, which of course I didn't know at the time. See if I can get this down. Okay. This is made right down the street. So, made in Marion, Virginia. I imagine the Virginia House of Furniture is long gone, but that's pretty cool. So, you guys will see this in the videos of me and my shop chair. And the last item I got this heat treat oven or kiln. It is 110. And so I got this for $20. Nobody was interested in it. I think the auctioneer started at 100 and he kept dropping the price, It got down to $20, and I was like, well, heck, I'd take a chance on it for $20 for a little heat treat oven. Yeah, it is manual, but I don't have anything right now because my old hot shot's no longer working. So I haven't plugged it in yet, but if it works, great. If it doesn't, I think this company is still in business, Allcraft. So if they are, I can get parts for it. Usually, your heating element or the thermocoupler. That's probably the only two things that usually go bad on it. Otherwise, there's not much to it. So those are all my purchases. Now, let's talk about this big box of horizontal cutters. So you guys know Michael. He comes up here and helps me a lot. He only lives a couple hours away. And he's trying to tool up his shop. So he came up and was hoping to get some goodies himself. He had a box of files that he wanted to bid on. Nice Nicholson files, file handles and whatnot. Well, auctioneer plopped this out. Nobody bid on it. So they're like, okay, let's throw something in, make a bundle. So then they threw that box of files in that Michael was wanting to bid on. So Michael ended up winning the lot. And he's like, he doesn't have any use for this. And, of course, this is the worst way to store these things. Because as you can see, some of the cutting edges are chipped already. Probably going to soak them in Evaporust and see how they clean up. Most of them are too big for my little mill. My Albany mill, it's only got a 1-arm ram and it runs a 1-inch arbor. I think most of these are going to be 1 1/4 inch arbors. So if you guys got bigger mills that could use some of this stuff, again, reach out to me. And then some of these that are, messed up. If, you got a tool and cutter grinder and you want to practice, this is probably some good stuff to practice on. We can pack some of this in a flat rate box and send it to you to play with because, like I said, I can't use most of this stuff. So be glad to pass it on. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a fun day yesterday. Like I said, got some great deals and got some pretty good deals. And like I said, if you know, some of this stuff is of interest to you, give me a holler. Contact me via email. You know, I know the switches and capacitors, you know, horizontal milling cutters, extra grinding wheels. Heck, even if you need some plastic, you know, I can hook you up, because like I said, I've got a lifetime of plastic. So I am set. Mr. Chaos says, appreciate you watching. I appreciate you watching. Hit that like button. I know this video isn't you know, for everybody, but that will still help me out. And we'll catch you on the next project. All right, see you guys. Bye.